and we are joined right now by the new UFC Bantamweight champion after Saturday's electric TKO of Aljamain Sterling at UFC 292. The win did improve his record to 17-1, 12 knockouts. We are joined right now by the Sugar Show, Sean O'Malley. Sean, how you living, champ? What's going on? Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm living good. It's I feel like I've been champ for a while, so it's life hasn't felt like it changed much. I feel like I've been the champ, and now it's just officially the champ.
All right, that's a really interesting response. I like that. So after cracking Sterling with that perfect counter right, I want to talk about the punch in a minute. Not only are you the champ, even if you've already felt like the champ, essentially you are now sitting atop the mountain and looking down on everybody else in the promotion. How does that part feel?
Yeah, it feels good. Again, I kind of felt like I was doing that. I was never, I wasn't ranked champ, but I felt like I was always kind of looking down on these guys as far as, I'm making more money than them. I've got more opportunities than them. I'm just better than them in those aspects, and now I'm just better than them in fighting too. I get approved that, and feels really good.
Sean O'Malley joining us. Sean, what I'm hearing from you is you already knew, you were already living that life before you actually had the crown. So to you, it was not a question of if, but a matter of when. So you knew. My question is, how did you know?
It's a good question. It was a deep self-belief at an early age. 16 years old, I started kickboxing. Really didn't even watch UFC. So kind of when I was like 17, 18, I started watching a little bit more. And for whatever reason, I was like, I'm going to be champ. I'm going to be champ. I was telling people around me, and they were all kind of like, whoa. There was a few people, at that early age that were like, hell yeah, you're going to do it. And for whatever reason, I just had this crazy self-belief that I knew I was a good athlete, and I knew fighting came natural to me. I believe certain people are just naturally born fighters, and I felt like that's how I was when I started kickboxing, and I just, put in the work.
We're talking to Sean O'Malley. Sean, in terms of that explosive right hand, now we know you have that in your toolbox, but to land it the way you did, can you take me through the punch? Did you know it was just a matter of time before he reached, he overextended himself, and then what did it feel like to land that shot?
Yeah, when you land those shots, it feels like punching air. Didn't feel like I punched anything. It was just so smooth. I like to think that it was just a matter of time. That's kind of the whole fight I went into, or going into that fight. I knew it was like, if I can keep it on the feet, it's a 25-minute fight. If I can keep it on the feet, which is a huge if going against someone like Aljamain Sterling, the greatest bantamweight of all time. So the chances of me keeping it on their feet weren't huge, but I believed in my wrestling. I believed in my power in that right hand. And I assumed it was a matter of time before I landed it, because I knew he had to come get me. He wanted to implement his game plan. His game plan was to push me up against the fence, get his hands locked, take me down. So I knew eventually he was going to have to close that space, close that distance. And it's hard to do against me. A lot of people were like wondering why I didn't try to shoot in the first round. And I don't think people understand how fast I am when I'm standing in front of them, switching stances, throwing stuff up the middle, punching them. And it's just, I create a lot of chaos. And that chaos caused him to, throw a punch, and it really wasn't a bad punch at all. It was a decent punch. It was a straight punch. I'm just that fast.
Sean, people who know exactly what you're talking about in all those things you just said. Like, he did actually try to take you down a couple of times, but your takedown defense was really, really good. To your point, the one place you don't want to go is to the ground with Aljo. We know this. We all know this, those who know the sport. So it was critical that thing did not go to the ground. But even more so, when we come to find out what you were dealing with, your coach said, Tim Welch, that 95% of the fighters out there would not have fought dealing with what you were dealing with. What was he talking about? What were you going through prior to the fight?
Yeah, 6 weeks out before the fight was the last time I did any MMA sparring, did any grappling. I sparred on a Friday, 6 weeks, so 6 weeks from weigh-ins, and I hurt my rib real bad. It was a muscle strain, like right in there on my rib, and it sucked. It was painful. There was thoughts of pulling out that since it was that far out. But I was like, well, I'll give it a couple weeks and see how it feels. Kind of tried to grapple again. Wasn't any better. So now we're already 4 weeks out. The fight's already huge. It's already a massive event. I'm the main event. I'm getting my title shot. There was just like, I was like, there's no way I'm going to pull out. I'm going to go out there and do what I know I'm capable of doing. I'm not going to get touched. So for me, going into that fight healthy, 100%, my goal was to not get touched. Me going into that fight, not 100% with an injury like that. My game plan just had to happen. It had to work. I had no option, because if he would have taken me down, I like to think, 25 minutes, I can tough it out, grit it out. But if anyone's had like pain, like those kind of injuries, it's hard to deal with, but I didn't have to. I made it a very, I made it, and I didn't have to deal with it. And it was very, the fact that it played out like that is still why it feels so much like a movie, because of dealing with that.
I was going to say, Sean, sorry to interrupt you. I was going to say, not that you lack for confidence, man, to get through something like that and then to come out the other end the way you did. I mean, it's got to be mind-blowing for your confidence. And also, that's why it must feel like a movie. For instance, you're dealing with demons, man, mental demons going into the fight. Even you're not a nervous guy. You said going into that fight, that was as nervous as you had ever been. Is it because of Aljo, or is it because you were hurt?
Both, 100% both. And I said, those nerves kind of came about more so further out, those 4 weeks, 3 weeks out. The closer I got to the fight, the more I can, the more I really, really dial in and shut those out. So fight day, 0 nerves. On the walk, 0 nerves. I kind of already accepted whatever's going to happen is going to happen, and I'm okay mentally with whatever happens. I go out there, lose, I was okay with that possibility. So I think that's where I was able to kind of not be nervous, is I was okay with whatever happened. And it's a very healthy mindset I have going into every one of my fights.
All right, so Sean, the multi-million-dollar question: how do you feel physically coming out of the fight, and then who's next and when?
The multi-million-dollar man will ask you, or answer that for you. Who's next? I don't know. I have options. I have a lot of options. I know Cheeto's acting like he earned a title shot, which is absolutely untrue. If he gets a title shot, it's because I picked him, I choose him. And I don't really like the way he's been handling that. So I might skip him. I might skip over him. Henry Cejudo's not really an option. He's coming off a loss. I just like to mention how short he is, and how that I would love to help him with his wrestling defense. Aljo went 0 for 2 against me, and I think Aljo took Henry down 4 times. So I always would offer that for whenever Henry wants to come and learn some stuff, some wrestling from me. He's not really an option. I just like bringing up his name because I know he gets fired up. Alexander Pantoja, the 125-pound champ. We have history. He's been calling me out. Would love. Marab's there, Corey's there. I have so many options right now, and it feels so good. December's the ideal time frame, but we could wait. January, February, kind of depends how my body feels. Depends who I end up picking. Lots going on there, but definitely not short on options.
My man, that was a multi-million-dollar response from the multi-million-dollar man. I love this notion that you're going to teach the Olympic champ how to wrestle. Good on you, dude. Well done. Let me ask you the question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying, yeah, I would love to, help where I can.
Yeah, I know, man, dude. You're about helping others out. I like that. I appreciate that about you. Yeah. Let me ask you another way. Do you fight who Dana White tells you to fight, or will you let Dana know who you're going to fight?
I like to think I have more power, but in reality, UFC is going to do what they want. UFC is going to, book who they want, when they want, where they want. You guys saw that with Aljo. He fought 3.5 months before that, and he said, you're fighting Sugar in Boston in August. So Dana's the man. Dana runs the show. Dana, Hunter, they run the show. So I'll be where they need me to be, when they need me to be there, and I'll do what I do.
Hey, Sean, one last thought about Aljo. Coming into the fight, I mean, he was essentially the GOAT of the division. Nobody would doubt that. I mean, in that sense, is he entitled to an immediate rematch, or does he have to get back in line, in your opinion?
I mean, he has a medical suspension from the fight, so I think if my time frame plays out how I want it to be, I'm fighting in December. Therefore, there would be no rematch there. Me and Aljo very very well could meet up. I do think him moving up to 45 makes a lot of sense. He's a very big guy. He's not going to be, you know, he's not going to be outpowered at 145. He's very strong. He's very physical. He's going to have better grappling than a lot of those guys at 145. So who knows? We could even meet at 145 someday. I know he's getting up there a little bit in age, but he's, to be honest, Aljo's still in his prime. 3.5 months ago, he beat Henry Cejudo. And he just, he got caught. But yeah, I think Aljo's that fight definitely could happen sometime down the line in the future.
Well, like I said, it was an electric performance at UFC 292. He is the champ. Hopefully we see you again, Sean, in December, and it all comes together. Listen, man, I appreciate you very much. Great to have you on the show. I was looking forward to the conversation. Lived up to all the hype, as always, and really good to talk to you, Sean. Thanks so much.
Yep, thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Appreciate you, dude. Good talking to you, the champ. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell to be the first to know when we do upload a new video.